Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Zwift Community Live broadcast of the KISS Night Race out on the Watopia Figure 8. The racing has just gotten going past the start-finish banner over on Watopia. Racers in the A race are already heading out onto Ocean Boulevard. It's going to be a fast and furious race, one lap of the Watopia Figure 8, so we don't want to hold things up too much for you boys and girls out there, as the racers are going to be finishing this race in probably around 40 to 50 minutes in the A category. So we're going to get right into the action. We have a whole lot going on with some social media interaction, so we will be able to bring in your tweets as well as Facebook messages to us right into the broadcast. You got questions, comments, or cheering, make sure to bring it our way. You can do at Z Community Live over on Twitter to interact with this stream, or you can just comment over on the Facebook on Zwift's Facebook page as well. We are streaming to a whole lot of locations though too, so if you want to check us out over at Zwift's Facebook as well as on a YouTube for any VODs or Beam and Twitch. So right up the front, we were looking, it looks like Mr. D. Allenby is here at the front of the race right off the bat, coming out of Great Britain. This is a race that's going to have 4 categories in it, and we have already gone into the event module for the A category, left the event module, and now we are able to cover each and every one of the racers today. So we will see though on the right hand side of the course all of the other athletes, all the other riders that are out on course. So we will be seeing every single avatar on the right hand side for riders nearby, just so everybody knows. There are going to be 4 categories today. For those of you who are new to racing, we're going to have category A that will be able to hold 4 watts per kilogram or higher. Category B will be 3.2 watts per kilogram to 4.0. Category C, those riders should be able to hold for their functional threshold power 2.5 to 3.2. And category D riders, we're talking about somewhere around that 6.0, that 2.5 or less. And so we can see up at the front here, one of the heavy hitters to watch out for is going to be D. Allenby here, hammering away through Ocean Boulevard. We also do have Sousa there coming out of Portugal. Argama has made it. A Webb from Vision Cycling here, one to watch out for. Boniface is in there as well. It looks like he may have raced the ZTR already today, maybe doing a double header. He definitely likes to throw down twice a day. So Boniface, one to watch out for sure, coming from that ODZ team. There's lots of teams actually represented in the pack here today if we look down from the helicopter point of view, and it looks like there's a lot of riders actually out there in the Trek kit getting their Trek challenge done, which was just released actually last night to all the desktops. Actually, we did see an update last night through Zwift going to the Mac and the PC. It was available on iOS for a little while, but then it did just get opened up last night. So we do see all these Trek jerseys, and those are actually, if you ride 31 miles on that Trek in that Trek jersey on that bike, you actually enter the challenge through that initial login screen. You can grab the an entry to win a prize actually from Zwift actually with a random raffle, just as long as you complete that challenge. So make sure to check out that new challenge and get your entry in for the raffle. We do see the kick now over the top of the only climb out of Ocean Boulevard, and it looks like Webb and Cartwright right from the get-go, actually a little bit early for this race, as the race profile I believe here, it definitely lends toward the climbers once they head on over toward the Watopia Hill, where the KOM banner is at. And we can see with the forward direction of 141, the reverse direction is usually the first one that they're going to be hitting after they leave Ocean Boulevard, is that they are on right now this lead group of, it looks like, at least 40 riders or so. The main separation is most likely going to come right around that reverse climb that usually takes somewhere between 3:30 and 4 minutes for the front runners in the A category. We've got a whole lot of people tuning in over at the Facebook. Diane Becker saying hi, good morning, good evening, good afternoon from David Crisp. Good to see you, David Crisp. And it looks like Elvis France saying Viva la France. Good to see all you guys in there. Jens Fried Rasmussen is also saying Trek Count push ZTR race done at the same time. And it looks like a lot of riders are looking to do just that. I believe we do have Mr. Jonathan Noblet hanging out here in the background over at the production studio for ZCL. We'll welcome him to the broadcast. Mr. Johnny, how are you doing, Jonathan?
I'm doing good, Nathan. Yeah, no, it's all good over here. I'm stood out by the by the KOM banner on looking in the reverse direction just at the moment. So yeah, it's good to be here. These guys have got a good race going on today. They're currently doing 29.7 kilometers on the figure 8 course with 235 meters of climbing. So it's a good race today. Full Watopia original hilly course in both forwards and reverse directions. So it's a great course to have out here today.
Yeah, I'm going to see if I can grab you up over at the KOM banner. He is hanging out there waiting for the riders to come through the KOM, so we'll get a shot from Mr. Jonathan as soon as they head on over there. It doesn't look like he's going to get rained on today, as he did over on the London course a whole bunch the last time he was hanging out on course. We do have a lot of Zwift on board riders as well that are going to help us get ideas of what is happening in a few of the other races. We do have coming from the KISS Racing team, Mr. Mike Szymanski, actually in the B category. I think a part of the lead group amongst the Bs right now. So Mike Szymanski coming from the KRT team, looking good there with our Zwift on board shot, actually hanging in and amongst the pack, and they're just about to head underneath what is known amongst some of the beta testers as Jarvis Tree, as it looks like an old tree we used to go through in the beta course there out on Jarvis. We also do have right along with him, it looks like actually a little ways back from him in the C category, Lewis Dinsdale for the KISS Racing team as well, hammering away there, hanging on out of Great Britain. It looks like he's also made the lead group amongst his category in the C category of races. And then in the A category for our Zwift on board, it looks like we do have the German Sebastian Kuhn hammering away for Vision Cycling, who has also made the lead group at this point. It looks like him and Mr. Vegan Porsche for Vision Cycling are hanging in the front group right along with Mr. Adam Webb. And so there is Mr. Sebastian Kuhn hammering away. There's the real life effort that it looks like for 164 beats per minute and how you can make that lead group. And they're about to turn off, it looks like, over toward the bridge to head on the reverse climb over the top of the Watopia hill. And this is going to be where the fireworks are going to start. It's still a huge lead group. And the question I have is, who all raced in the ZTR prior to this race? I'm hearing that we are getting some good reports from Zwift Power lately for the live results. It's reacting very quickly. We have a huge lead group, it looks like. Actually, that lead group was around 46 people at the 4.5 kilometer marker, actually. So that was just about 2 kilometers, a little over 2 kilometers ago. And a lot of these riders with a lot of gold medals, actually, in the last couple of weeks. Allenby has won a race in the last 2 weeks. We do also have, it looks like, B. Hansen, actually, out of Denmark with a win. Actually, it looks like B. Hansen with a solid win in the last 2 weeks, coming out of Denmark, a rider I'm not super familiar with. And so it's good to see new riders taking down a few of the spots on the podium. And people that we can get more familiar with and maybe start to challenge some of the bigger hitters like the Cartwrights, the Allenbys, the Boniface that's out there, Porsche, and a few others that we definitely need and usually watch out for out on course. We'll see if Hansen can actually challenge some of those front runners. And we know that this is going to be the point out on course when we really start to see things heat up as they make their way up and over the top of the climb. The initial kick up is up into about 4.5 to 5% gradient. If they are on smart trainers, they are definitely feeling that gradient right now. And here's the kick. Bokerot up toward the front. R. Stevens is right there out of Belgium, actually, but it looks like Schmidt-Heine from Team Experimental is the first one to kick over the top. 9.6 watts per kilogram coming out of Switzerland there. It looks like Gama is following very closely from Team PTZ. We can see the power-ups flying like crazy. As far as the race rules go in this race, boys and girls, it is no holds barred on the power-ups. Power-ups are allowed at all times. You can actually use any bike in the KISS races. So if they wanted to use a TT bike, they could. A lot of times they do not, as drafting is such a huge deal. But Schmidt-Heine, look at Daniel go, absolutely killing it and getting a 2-second gap immediately on the rest of the field. This is a huge attack coming from him, and this is really going to break things apart. I have a feeling there's going to be some serious efforts that are going to have to come from a few of the racers behind. We do see Heine here here now, sitting on Porsche's wheel and being a teammate. Experimental is one of the oldest teams in the world of Zwift, and they definitely know how to communicate during the races. They have their own Discord channel that they are most likely in right now, telling who to go when, what to follow, and with 4 seconds, it looks like, over the rest of the group, he is not going to be helping out with this chase, and a few of these boys are going to have to go into the red if they're going to want to chase this down. We do have the vegan cyclists here now out of the USA now trying to close that down at 5.5 at the front, 198 beats per minute though, so all these riders thrown definitely into the red with that first about minute and a half to 2 minutes of this climb. They're about halfway up to the top, and now it does settle out a little bit though, so some drafting group dynamics definitely come into the play, but that 46-man group is definitely going to be just blown apart. Now it is going to be Gama with Schmidt-Heine on the front of this A race, trying to continue to break things apart. Yamakura here coming out of Japan, now making up the chase though, 164, looking fairly comfortable. Looks like he's going to be able to bring this back together. But Schmidt-Heine definitely being the one who makes the initial attack break things apart. The first one to bite the dust, it looks like, will be M. Smith with Shane actually on his wheel here out of Canada here. I know this is a high-end pro racer. I actually think he races for Jelly Belly. Now just maybe conserving a little bit of energy to get back on terms with the front group now.
Yeah, you know, that section of that climb, you know, here, it's a 2.5 kilometer climb, the reverse KOM, and it's, you know, a bit of a tricky one because you get that initial kick up as you go around.
Oh, we're losing you a little bit there, Johnny. I think, I
like
wonder if that's on us. Maybe that's on me, or maybe that's on your internet side there. We'll try and get you back here in just a moment. Perhaps we do have him coming in with a video feed. Maybe, Johnny, try killing your video feed and just go through Discord, perhaps, because I have a feeling that it's too much maybe on the internet right this second. Gamma here now from PTZ, it looks like, up toward the front at 3:30 is the fastest time. That's absolutely killer time. We'll see what kind of time they do bring over the top of the KOM, though, at this point right now, as we do see it is going to be Gamma as the, actually, no, excuse me, it is Schmidt-Heine with the fastest time up and over the top at 3:35.3 as they make their way on the other side. And now Webb with an arrow power up, and this is a tactic we see time and time again out on course. 7.7 watts per kilogram or so, it looks like, with a 2-second gap, using that arrow power up to his full advantage, 75 kilometers per hour. I'll be following as quickly as he possibly can. Vegan Porsche trying to get back on terms. One of the lighter riders out on course going to have difficulty if he does not keep that power super high at this point to hang on to those wheels. These boys throwing down 500 watts or so, just raw power on the downhill, keeping those speeds as high as possible, but he's jumping right into the mix now, and it looks like the group is splitting again as they make their way about to the halfway point actually already out on course here. It looks like it's going to be then Rooney. Then we're going to take a look at the chase group, and I believe it's going to be Jay Rooney here coming out of New Zealand for Team Experimental with R. De Silva as well as Clark from the BRT team that are going to make up the chase. Maybe going to be able to get with a few riders that are out on course there. Actually, no, Teamwork and Prince are not a part of the race though. Looking over at our feed from the social media, we can see that a little bit of cheering there going for Sebastian Kuhn, actually, from Stefan Prestel, actually. Thanks a lot for that. And Andy Bain saying, what, no burrito? And a question coming from Steph Gardner, is Lindsay racing? If Lindsay was racing, she would be right here. We have one setup for the cameras and everything. We might actually, that's a great idea, actually, if we put a camera downstairs, actually, on another setup and somehow put all the kids somewhere else, and then Lindsay could race while I broadcast it up here, and we'd have a double setup there, Steph. But no, she's not racing right now. And we're seeing Ide Cat saying, wow, a disc brake trek on Zwift. I didn't even notice that. That's a great pickup there, Ide. Appreciate the comment there for sure. So this is the chase group then in the A's, it looks like. We're going to get Zwift on board to see if what is happening in and amongst the B category. I think Sebastian Kuhn has been dropped off from the front group at this point, and maybe in and amongst the Buccellato group. Yep, and that is right. And Buccellato here coming out of Michigan, actually, a rider that races mountain bikes I actually know from the world of mountain bike racing in the Midwest of the US of A, hanging tough here in the third chase group. And it looks like they are going to get back with Rooney and Hardy and a few others that are off the front from them. They'll make up a solid main chase group that's going to try and pull in those front runners. But those front runners are absolutely hammering away, and I think they have maybe almost over a minute at this point to the front of the race now. And then there they are. I think they are. Nope, we're going to keep on moving forward just a little bit. Here we go. Now we do have Allenby, it looks like, hanging in. And now a little bit of hand holding going on. Webb at the front, though. Who's making any attacks? Schmidt-Heine definitely being the instigator today with Hein 3.4 Gamma here as well in there. Everybody, 170 beats per minute, though. Things are definitely not calming down. And that's the thing with the figure 8 course. It's like a full-on crit race, man. Attack after attack after attack after attack, or else it's going to be a sprint at the end. And they really have to use every single match that they possibly can anytime it goes uphill. And through the SEs here, I'm fully expecting somebody to at least put in a little bit of a dig to try and break things apart a little bit. And there it comes. It is going to be Smith, it looks like, going off the front at about 8 watts per kilogram, or at least making his way to the front there out of Great Britain. Now, not really getting the gap that would be needed to really cause any kind of mayhem, but now it is going to be Argama from the Portugal team now. 340 watts, 400, 500 watts there for just a second, and definitely using those little kicks to try and keep the speed as high as possible. Grupo Compacto, they're not strung out. Nobody really going anywhere at this point, it looks like, or making any kind of attacks. In and amongst the group now, we do see it is going to be Team Experimental then, with Vision Cycling is in there as well. The Vegan Cyclist is there. PTZ represented. BRT, one team we have not mentioned yet in the broadcast, in that Power Tap kit. Looks like a solo rider, though, for the BRT, who's going to have to really play his cards correctly to try and chase down any attacks that may come his way from the other teams. It might start playing some cat-mouse games to try and break things apart prior to the forward climb on the Watopia course. For the race today, it is just that one lap, so all they're going to have left today on the Watopia figure 8 is they're going to head down through this sprint section now, take a right-hand turn onto Ocean Boulevard, go underneath the ocean, left-hand turn up and over the top of their final real climb that has any kind of ability to really break things apart, and then head back into this section actually that we're looking at right now that they just exited. Maybe one last chance for the Essies. A lot of times it does not happen, and then they will have most likely a sprint finish unless Cartwright here with an attack into the sprint. Actually, he took a slingshot right there to grab onto, maybe, I'm not sure if that was just going for the sprint jersey. I think that was just for the sprint jersey, because live results show him as the fastest one out on course currently with an 11:39. He fades immediately down to about 11, it looks like 4.5 watts per kilogram. Webb, though, goes right along with him, and if Webb and Allenby and Cartwright get off the front, it is GG, game over, I think. And it looks like, though, they're just getting back on terms with each other. They're not going to go much of anywhere. Boniface here now from the ODZ team, hanging in the pack. Doesn't look like he's got any teammates either to work with. So Vegan Porsche and then Webb here still playing their cards correctly, it looks like, for Vision Cycling, just to cover the moves as well. Johnny, I do have, looks like, eyes then also over on Szymanski here, who's just coming up and over the top in the B race. We can at least get a look at where the front of the B, well, maybe not the front of the B race. We'll see where Szymanski is sitting currently in the B category. I think he may be a part of the first chase group out there, it looks like. But it looks like we do have, from his point of view, they're just coming into the start-finish area. It looks like there is a group about 14 seconds up from him, and he's leading these boys out at about 3.3 watts per kilogram or so out of the US of A, riding for that KRT team. Doesn't look like he's got any teammates really in and amongst him now. It does look like we do have T. Diaz there from Vision Cycling leading it out. A TS Bike, actually, Belgian rider there in and amongst that group as well. We also still have, we've got some serious suffering going on in the C category, just coming up and over the top for the KRT team, actually. A little ways back from Szymanski now. Lewis Dinsdale now just trying to get back on terms with the front of this race, with Pete Thomas and Martin just a little ways up from him now. And can he get back on terms with this? Can he hold on the downhill? It looks like these are some serious attacks taking place during the C race at this point. And then we also do have Sebastian Kuhn here, still hanging tough here, coming through the up through this little climb before they hit Ocean Boulevard, and it looks like he's riding in the Tour de France there from his pain cave there. That's a great pain cave graphic there in the background. Jonathan Nobbit, you still with us there? If you got any eyes on the D category at all, that's the only one that I do not have eyes on with Zwift on board. It'd be very helpful.
Yeah, the D category, they're just heading up over the King of the Mountains, up to the banner, just past the aliens now. So they've got another kilometre to get to the King of the Mountains banner. There's a big group of them all together at the front. I did just pass before I headed up to the B, so I'll head back there now and give you a bit more of an update on the D category.
Absolutely awesome. Great. Thank you so much. And Rick Barbera coming in here saying, had to work today. Go KRT. Rick Barbera were riding for that KRT team and cheering on his team over there in the social media over at Facebook with Zwift. Will Thomas then saying, what is KISS? That is a great question. If you'd like to bring your questions, I'll keep an eye on them as much as I possibly can. And as far as what is KISS, the KISS road race series, the one of the original racing series actually out on Zwift. It's been going on, I believe, since December of 2000 and oh man,
it was 21st of December 2015. Yeah,
21st of December 2015. We had their birthday bash race, actually, their 1-year birthday bash race live streamed actually back on the 21st of December 2016. And so they were one of the longer standing. I think the ZTR series was one of the first ones, and then KISS followed suit after them, and they've been one of the longest standing series that we've been covering. They're also a lot of the guys and gals that are behind the administration of the KISS Road Race series is also behind Zwift Power, helping to keep everybody organized with their race results and their entire database of all the racing and rides that they've done and competition that they've done that is held in the database of ZwiftPower.com. If you haven't checked that out yet and you don't know that that even exists, that is a great place to go as a community resource. It's a community-run website that has to be very clear. These races are community-run races. The officiating of the races are community-run, and it's a huge effort that they've put in order to create these awesome online resources. So the Keep It Simple Stupid was the original acronym that they used. That's why it's called KISS, is because the idea is if it's available in the game, let's use it, right? And so you can use a TT bike, you can use power-ups at any time. They tried to keep it a little more hands-off and gamify it and allow it to be fair as to what is available to everybody in the game, because it's really hard to keep track of those things. Back then, it was really hard to keep track of those things. Now there's been so many resources added, but they've kept that spirit because there's other races like the ZTR race or all kinds of other races, Friday Criterium, that have a different way of doing races and use different tools. Like there's the ability now to take all power-ups out of the game, to remove TT bike from your event, not completely out of the game, but from your event you can actually remove those things so that people cannot use them. But back when those were not available, the whole idea was keep it simple, stupid. Let's get out there, race our bikes on Zwift, get an awesome workout. So that's what KISS is all about. Webb now going out the front though, 6.9 watts per kilogram, and it looks like he does not want to leave it to any kind of uphill race actually, as I believe he is probably concerned about Mr. Boniface, Allenby, and Cartwright hammering on him, maybe even Schmid-Heine, who I've not seen out in the races too often lately, at least in the KISS races. So definitely some of these boys to be watching out for today. We were getting a comment there coming from Alex Taylor saying, is Adrian Timmis riding today? He is not riding today, but an ex-Tour de France rider, ex-pro, who is out and racing often out on course. I think he's saving it up for the SZR race series tomorrow. That is a 12-week series where they take the best of your 10 best of your 12 races, actually. And he's actually being very competitive. I think he's sitting in the top 5 to 10 right now amongst them. Currently, Philip Diner is leading the SCR series, I believe, with riding for Severe Coaching. And him and Adrian and a few others have been, I think Hanaziter as well, have been absolutely hammering on each other in that SCR series. So make sure to stop in tomorrow. We'll be covering the SCR series tomorrow, and I believe you'll be able to catch Adrian Timmis out there for sure. And it looks like, go ahead, Johnny.
Yeah, so I do have my eyes on the front pack of the D riders right now. We have P Groves, A Dongster, S Priam, and also B Underhart, and also C Hodge. There's a group of five riders there in the D category. They've just gone underneath the start-finish banner, now on their way up to the S's. So it's a group of 5 guys there, all sticking together, beating all quite nicely together, good pace. So hopefully these guys will stick together. They've got a good 20 seconds gap over the chasing pack in the D category.
Nice, nice. So it sounds like there's a solid pack up at the front of the D category. We'll keep on getting radio updates on the rest of the race from the C and B and D category. We will follow the A's to the finish for the front lead group, and then we'll work our way back to catch everybody's finish. All the excitement usually happens during that last few Ks, so we're going to make sure to catch all the moves throughout the race as much as we can for each race, and then we will move our way backwards and find each of the leaders from each of the main groups, as well as highlight those that we can as we see them come into the finish line. Right now, if we were to try and move our way backwards, though, during the race, we would completely, most likely, lose any of the coverage that would make any sense whatsoever at this point. So we're just going to keep things on the front of the pack. But we will definitely, if you're watching and you're racing at the same time, you're like, cover, where am I at? What's going on? We totally want to highlight everybody in all their races, and we'll work our way back to definitely find those categories as quick as we can to get those images on the screen for you. Boniface now, it looks like here. Man, this guy has not thrown anything off the front. He's followed wheels the entire race. I have a feeling we're going to see... Well, he just did the ZTR, though, I assume, because he loves to do the ZTR race prior to this one. I'm going to go ahead and actually open up the ZwiftPower.com, bring up Boniface's recent results. It looks like he may have taken a third in the ZTR race just prior to this. I'm going to opening up his profile right now, waiting for this to come through, and it looks like, yeah, he took a third, yep, on 2:14.17, so he just took third place in the ZTR race up against, let's go ahead and see who is all in that race, probably some heavy hitters, I would assume, and that's with no power-ups in that race. It looks like Johan Noreker Nosen, Jacob Hansen actually took first and second, and then Brett Boniface took third for Team ODZ. Just prior to this, he did 4.47 watts per kilogram for an hour and 6 minutes just prior to this. So this boy is most likely just trying to reserve any energy he can to hang on prior to hitting the climb here. Now, here we go. This is where all the fireworks are going to really open up, and the first one to go is going to be the vegan cyclist at 200 beats per minute. This is a rider I'm not super familiar actually with. Haven't seen him out on course in quite a while. I have seen him a couple times in the past. Coming out of the USA, the vegan cyclist here up into 8 watts per kilogram, really making an attack here. We're just getting his results loading up here from Zwift Power. The only race that I've seen from him in the past here was on February 2nd, actually. He took a 4th place in the Tri-Sport Way Hilly race with a solid 4.4 watts per kilogram for the duration of the race there, it looks like. He does max out, it looks like 190 beats, 8 beats per minute in that race. Looks like he's going up into 206 right now, though. So this guy is really, really up in the limit. Let's see how high he can get this. I don't have a max heart rate for him as he's only got one race prior, so we'll have to wait and see how high he can make this thing goes. I have no idea how many more beats he has to work with, but now we do see Cliven here coming from the BRT team here trying to make his way to the front. But there's Cartwright, the juggernaut, trying to make his way to the front of this race with Oliver and Yamakura. Now this is the last little section where the break can really happen. As soon as it levels out, there's going to be this split that'll happen if you're not with the group. Once it levels out and the speeds really pick up, and there's continuance up and over the top of the climb. For some reason we had workout mode open up there. Someone was pushing E somewhere, but now Cartwright here, 6.6 watts per kilogram, 7.2 now, really making his way up and over the top. It looks like Boniface able to hang on there. Smidge Heine now right along with Webb, Yamakura, Primon, Cliven's there, Diggers is there as well. He's digging over the top, coming out of Australia there. Somebody is pushing something here. No idea why this is opening up. Excuse me, guys. I am sorry. We're going to go ahead and bring up the Zwift on Borders here and try and figure out why this is opening up for you. There we go, guys. So we are back with the front of the race. Sorry about that, everybody. So we are right back with the front of the race here with Cartwright, Cliven, it looks like Boniface, Schmidheine, Diggers, and then Webb. Vegan cyclist there as well, Stevens. Now it looks like it is a 4-second gap back to Vegan, Porsche, Oliver, and then this is going to be a chase group of 2 who, if they don't do something right now, it's going to be curtains. Gama trying to get back from the Portuguese team right along with Bokrad about 4 seconds back or so. Let me give me 1 second here, guys. We're gonna go with the Zwift on board. I have a feeling I know exactly what is going on here. Just prior to the race, we were messing with the keyboards, getting our multiple keyboards with Synergy set up between all of the computers, and there was a Logitech USB plugged in, and right in the other room, I believe my daughter is doing homeschool and opening up things in Zwift right now connected to that Logitech. Car right now here at the front of the race, it looks like 4.6 watts per kilogram with Premont, Cliven as well, and Boniface now all making up toward the front. About 11 seconds back, it will be Gama then with Oliver, Vegan, Komoda here now, as well as Bokarad and Hein. 3 racers now making their way up and over the top of this little bit of a 5% climb gradient. They may be able to close it down to Vegan, Porsche, and Oliver and try and battle still for somewhere within the top 10 of the riders. And we are seeing it coming from Kiss Road Race, actually. Good to see Kiss Road Race joining in to the broadcast with a tweet coming from at Z Community Live. Zwift Power looking awesome. Click live in the top right. So to give us an idea, they're just trying to give us an idea of exactly what we're talking about when it comes to ZwiftPower.com. The image that's coming through there, we'll go ahead and show it really quickly. Coming from Kiss Road Race. So if you, we'll use this as an example real quick as how you guys can add images to the live broadcast for you to interact directly. So a lot of times you see Zwift doing like a setup Saturday where they're showing your setup. If you would like to have your setup or have your podiums from the past, who you are in real life, whatever you'd like to share with the broadcast, if it's relevant, we see the image brought up, we'll go ahead and add that to the broadcast like you see here at Z Community Live, as you can see where they put in at Z Community Live. Anything at Z Community Live, we do see in a live feed on the left-hand side here, and we can bring that right into the broadcast. And you can see a live feed of all of the racers on SwiftPower.com is what they were trying to tell us there by clicking live in the upper right-hand corner.
Yeah, that looks like, basically there's been some work going on in the background on Zwift Power, and that's showing all the watches, all the chalk lines, all the places that it can pick up where the riders are during a race out on course. So I'm assuming that all those blue little markers there showing that everything is running nice and smoothly today with Zwift Power.
Yeah, and it's actually running very, very quickly today. Absolutely killer. And we're getting a couple of quick comments there saying, my max is 232 from Chet Ogenberg. That is a crazy high beats per minute. Absolutely, absolutely amazing. And we're seeing here Edward Wiley saying, pharmacology homework and ZCL racing distracting. Glad to see that you have jumped into the broadcast to be entertained today. But definitely go get your pharmacology homework done, buddy. And then jump out on course without any pharmacology though. So now here with Prima, go ahead.
So yeah, we've just got a bit of an update. The B racers are just hitting the KOM climb now. They've just gone around that first hairpin bend as they head up to that little false flat on the when you go up to the KOM banner. And we do have B de Villager, A Brown, R Lil Rosberg, and also A Brown all together with R Hamilton coming out of Great Britain. These guys have got a big gap over the rest of the B guys. There's 5 of them who have just broken away and stringing out as they hit up to the climb. So these guys will be looking to group together when they get up to the KOM. A lot of them all riding in the Trek Segafredo kit as well, also doing that February Swift mission today.
Yeah, it looks like they're just a little bit ahead of Mr. Szymanski here in the B race, who's trying to chase down. Speaking of the B racers, we do have Szymanski. Cartwright does make an attack there, but we do want to highlight a few of our Zwift on board boys who put in a lot of work to get their stream set up. And we do have him and Warthon here trying to chase those boys down, but they are still at the bottom of that climb there. So they're going to have a lot of time to make up. It looks like still going to be battling it out here to hold off B Roden right along with it. It looks like Philpott as well as a few others there. There's going to be a whole lot of battle here, I think, over the top here for Szymanski and Warthon, as a lot of positions can change before the end of the race. Cartwright did make a little dig again here, trying to grab that sprint jersey. I'm not sure, as that was just a dig through the sprint section. It looks like him and Yamakura do have a, looks like 6-second gap, actually. And this is coming into the finish line here. They're only going to have a couple of Ks to go at this point, and at 5.6 watts per kilogram coming from the Japanese rider at the front with Cartwright sitting right on the wheel. These are two super strong riders. If they have another kick up and over the top here, I know that Cartwright has quite a few beats to work with yet. 5.5, 5.6 watts per kilogram or so, but here comes Primon now. Absolutely killing 11 watts per kilogram, 180 beats per minute. Wanting to close that down immediately. This is an attack for the win now at this point, as Boniface is trying to close it down. Has that feather power up, 640 watts or so. With that feather power up, gets right on terms with Cartwright. It's going to be Boniface, Cartwright, Yamakura, Primon, but Primon going up and over the top there. Webb now right back on terms with Diggers digging in here, trying to stay onto that wheel, and it's all back together except for Primon going off the front. Webb here from Vision Cycling. The vegan cyclist here almost back on terms, but it's going to be Stevens and Schmidt-Heine who fell off the back here. Stevens riding for that TKBE Belgian team, 3.7 watts per kilogram. Schmidt-Heine here now 3 seconds back. Looks like he is going to have to just work on holding off Gamma, or maybe catching Stevens, who is only about 2 seconds up, but the break has happened now, and now they're coming into the last half a K or so. Maybe 1K to go, actually, at this point as they make their way through this undulating Essies toward the finish line. Cliven now going off the front now a little bit, grabbing on the Primon's wheel here, maybe making a smart move, but it is only 3 seconds, and if there's any power-ups that they might have in that chase group, they might come flying right on by. But who's going to make the chase? As we look over the shoulder here, there's the group chasing them down. They're still right within sight here. It's just a few meters. They're almost right back on terms. Here's another little kick with an uphill gradient, and it looks like the boys behind have 6 to 7 watts per kilogram to give. They might get right back on terms, and it might have been all for naught. If you see Primon fading, you can only hold up into that kind of an attack. We saw into that 11, 12 watts per kilogram sprint, and then backed it down to about 7 and tried to hold, but how long can you hold that? You can't. 186 beats per minute, probably maxing out almost at this point. I'm going to see where this rider maxes out at. It says he maxes out right around Primon 192. He's got 6 beats to work with, 7 beats to work with. That's at, he's at everything he's got is on the line. He might have nothing but just a neuromuscular kick left in these legs, and these other boys might have about 1,000 watts to get it as they're sitting in, but they're gonna have to slingshot to make it happen. And the one who looks like he's set up the best has gotten dragged in all the way to this point is gonna be Cliven, but he's gonna have to go really soon as Cartwright's starting to wrap it up at 7 watts per kilogram behind here. 3 seconds back. Now here comes 8 watts per kilogram. Cartwright, we look behind there is the ramp up coming from him, but he might be the lead out man. Now the BRT rider throwing down, seeing that Cartwright is coming, and maybe a little bit too little too late as these boys are slingshotting from behind. It's going to be Cliven, I think, to the line here. Cliven has the gap, and now will it be Primon can hold it off? Digger's coming at 14 watts per kilogram though, and it will be paying off for both Cliven and Primon, who went through the Essies. Usually if you attack through the Essies, it doesn't happen, but they've got the better of the pack, and the sprint did not work out for the Chasers. What a solid ride by all the riders there, but the win goes to BRT today, with Cliven throwing it down across the line there for first place in the KISS Europe Night Race. What a sprint there from those boys. And Heath Williamson, thank you so much for the comment there, saying great commentary, guys. And Chris Milner saying, what's the best way to get involved? You could head on over to Zwift.com, and there's a couple of guides there, actually. If you are talking about how to get into Zwift, there's a How It Works, I believe, tab that you can go to, and you can see all the different ways you can get connected. You can use an ANT Plus signal to go to a PC or a Mac from a device that is either a speed sensor, a power meter, or a smart trainer, and then you have a little USB stick or USB dongle that you plug into that Mac or your PC that then takes that signal and communicates the power in the upper left-hand corner to get your avatar moving. If you're just looking to get involved in racing, when you log into the game, on the right-hand side, actually, as M. Smith crosses the line here finishing up his event, you can see all the events that are about to take place on the right-hand side of the screen when you log into your initial start screen, and it says start riding or ride at the bottom. On the right hand side, you'll see all the events. You can scroll through them, you select the event, and you can, if it's a race, you jump in the race, select your category. Each one of the categories are based on FTP, functional threshold power. And so if you hold 4.0 or higher, you're an A. a B, 3.2 to 4.0, a C, 2.5 to 3.2 watts per kilogram, and for a D, 2.5 or less. If you have not done an FTP test, there are FTP tests in Zwift. You can select workout mode and throw down an FTP test. What can you hold like a TT-like effort for the duration of 20 minutes? And then they'll give you a test. Go ahead and just follow the directions in the test. S. Kuhn did just come across the line here. We can see the aftermath of the suffering from Kuhn there. Solid sprint there from him, and the head down 175 beats per minute. Nice job in that A race. I think somewhere within the top 20 perhaps out on course today.
Yeah, so Nathan, I've got my eyes on the front three B riders at the moment. They've just come across the sprint EW so the JW Bridge at the moment, and they're just heading up that climb. And we do have B De Villager, R Hamilton, and also H Barkin coming out of Japan. And these three riders are all just heading up across that little hill, that incline into the S's at the moment, as we do see B De Villager making a bit of an attack up there with the guys chasing hard behind them. So these three guys have got quite a big gap over the rest of the pack, and it looks like these guys, if we stick together, could have a nice little bit of a sprint at the end for the B category.
Yeah, it looks like Hamilton, you said, Villager, and then is Taylor actually a part of that? No, he's in the ZTR race, so no, he's not a part of the race there. It does have a little bit of a gap now. Was formed over Rodbrigit here from the Vikings team coming out of Norway here at 3.6 watts per kilogram, but it is going to be Hamilton, like you said, with the Villager here coming out of the Netherlands. So it's going to be the man coming out of the UK up against the Dutch here. We'll see if he can hold off here. Here's an arrow power up throwing down. Now 7.2 watts per kilogram having to be given by the Villager. It looks like this is going to be the win in the B category. He has a 1 second gap. Villager's going to have Villager, excuse me, not Villager, but Villager is going to have to close this down right now. 8 watts per kilogram to try and get back onto that wheel. If he gets back on the wheel now, it's going to be up to Hamilton to play some games here. Oh, and it looks like Villager's going to go flying right on by with that attack, trying to slow it down and just get on the wheel, but now he's the one out front. Now the games start, boys and girls, and he takes that momentum and gets a 1 second gap immediately. 7.3 watts per kilogram over Hamilton. Now 1 second back now. Now he is the one putting on the back wheel. That is Hamilton out of the UK. 5.8 watts per kilogram. Can he get back on terms? Now it looks like Leger here now trying to hold off 6.7 or so, holding off Hamilton just by 1 second. Will it go all the way to the line? 8 meters is the difference at this point. Hamilton now almost back on terms with the wheel of Leger here out of the Netherlands. We do have, it looks like, according to Zwiftpower.com, these are definitely the two leaders. They will get a congratulations, I think, at the end of the race with a solid upgrade into the A categories. They're holding down some killer wattages, actually, into areas that would be contesting for maybe not the win, but definitely a top 20 in the A race here. And so solid ride from these boys, holding over 4.0 watts per kilogram to the finish, but they will be the first ones across the line. So we're going to cover this for the sprint in the B race for you boys and girls. Looks like Leger here now sitting on the wheel of Bergton, actually, from the A race, and Hamilton, the one getting the advantage from the draft here. 300 meters to go. At this point, it's whoever goes first. It looks like they're completely caked. Both of them have nothing left to give. It looks like somebody's got to go like now, and we're not going to even see a sprint. Hamilton may be going too late. You can't leave it to that last 100 meters, but he does have way more kick. Like we said, the first one to go was going to be the one who won at that point, and now Hamilton pulls it off in the B race just ahead of Leger. Solid race from those boys. Then we do have in the B race, it is Szymanski here still in this same race that we were just watching. Actually, we were just watching the B race here, making his way to the finish line. Looks like he's sitting on Warthon and Cornelius for that KRT team. They have about a 37-second gap over Tiz from RCC. It does look like Rodin and Philpott, as well as Maktovic is also a little ways back. We'll try and get eyes on those boys in just a minute here. Tarbert just crossing the line here in the B category. But thanks to Szymanski for giving us an eye into what is happening in the B category race a little ways back there so that we can see exactly how things are playing out. But now we are back with one of the main chase groups actually in the B race, just about to leave the Essies here as they're making their way through the final climbs here. Figueiredo here from Portugal, riding for that PTZ team, right with Mason. Huge group here making their way to the line, and they're all kind of just looking at each other, holding hands a little bit, waiting for the first one to go. Do we have a taker that's going to go from a ways out? Now we got an arrow power up from way out. Is this going to be a slingshot? Looks like it was a little early, 179 beats per minute. Is this just a hold on at this point? We do have Lynn here also hanging in. Stuart Lynn out of Canada. Solid ride for him in the B category, actually. Now pumping in 8.7 watts per kilogram, but the arrow power-ups might be just too much, as we do have Pete Chunky going off the front, 5.6 watts per kilogram. Looking over his shoulder there. Here comes Lynn with the slingshot. All the arrow power-ups are flying. Now Chunky with 6.4, but now Lynn at 7.0, 8.0. Will there be one last kick to the line? Can he come around? But the arrow just might be too strong. And Chunky with one last kick, 130 RPMs. It looks like Lynn will settle for second in this group, followed by Figueredo. That was a huge group bringing their way to the finish line, but it was Lynn second, right along with, I believe, Chunky then first place amongst that group. Szymanski now, we do see the mind games starting between him and Cornelius as they have a gap over Warthon, who's trying to get back on terms, coming from the Friday Criterium team we haven't talked about a whole lot just yet, but they've created a gap. But Szymanski is hanging onto the wheel of Cornelius now, it looks like, maybe recovering still a little bit from the effort he did in the 100K actually this past weekend. But we got another sprint making its way up here from BJ Alfonso here, coming from that PTZ team. Looking over his shoulder here, we can see he's got 8 watts per kilogram to give, and it looks like he is going to win this sprint. Always good to see BJ out there sprinting. He's got a solid kick at the line. Not somebody that a lot of time. Oh, and wait, did he have a dropout? He got nipped at the line. There was a dropout at the line, boys and girls. He got nipped. I think it was B Little just barely nipped him there at the line. We'll have to wait for SwiftPower.com, but I have a feeling that there was some sort of a dropout, or maybe just nothing left in the legs. He went and went and went, and then it was like the last 50 meters, nothing. And it was like he put his hands in the air, and the celebration was too early, boys and girls. It was one of those situations, hands in the air, too early, and it was all over. And we've got a whole lot of comments coming in here. Love the event section coming from Diane Baker. Charlie Williams saying great. Superb coming from Edward Wiley. Epic coming from Alan D. Thomas. Thanks for all the comments there, guys, over at the Zwift Facebook. Moving back over to Cornelius and Warthon here. Szymanski here hammering away now, as you can see, trying to stay on terms with Cornelius, who has been leading them out almost the entire way, it looks like. Warthon was able to get back on terms with the front of the race. We do see another sprint now heating up here right to the line here real quick with Philpott and Malkovich. It looks like to the line it will be Malkovich. Yep, just barely nipping, followed by, I believe, the BRT rider. And then Rodin to the line. Now ramping it up in the last 400 to 500 meters. It is going to be Szymanski, who is playing really smart right to the line. Szymanski is going to kick, I believe, here in just a second. And I do have a little bit more of a shot. I'm a little bit in the future, actually, right now. So I do see everything that is happening. And here we go, boys and girls. The aero boost is real. And there is the effort all the way to the line. Gets the gap. Real life effort. Nice job by Szymanski there, grabbing that sprint from Cornelius. It looks like, and Warthon, looks like Warthon will come across the line ahead of Cornelius, as I believe Cornelius put in the brunt of the work, actually, but then got, didn't quite, it looks like they played their cards correctly to get the better of him at the line, though. Now we do have Irving here. Was that Irving in the C race?
Yeah, we do have some C's coming in now. We've got quite a big bunch of C riders who have put in a very good pace in this race, just coming through the rock tunnel at the moment. Group of about 8 guys all bunched together there, looking to sprint it out at the final line.
Yeah, it looks like Arseth now just coming across the line. Moving my way back here, we do have D. Shelley as well, making his way across the line too. So BJ Alfonso getting a little bit of a prodding there to the just so you guys know, there is a strong encouragement from all the race organizers that if you know your FTP and you've done an FTP test, or if you haven't actually checked out ZwiftPower.com and you're a part of these races, please go check out ZwiftPower.com. Read at the bottom, there's a legend about what each thing next to your name means, and if you get an upgrade, jump into, because it'll tell you right on there what your watts per kilogram were, what was held for your watts per kilogram. It says it right on zwiftpower.com, gives you a whole history and suggests where you should be as far as the efforts that you're putting out. So make sure to do so that everybody is racing against a common group of riders that are around their level, so that it's a fair playing field for all of them, and everybody's got a shot at placing where they should within the race for their category out there. So it's strongly encouraged. If you know your FTP, jump into the correct category for the event, the same way that you would with a group ride. If you're going to jump into a group ride and it says it's a 2.5 to 3.0 group ride, and you show up and you know you got to do whatever the workout is, and you're hammering 4.0 on the front, and it ruins the ride, the same way don't ruin the race, right? So make sure that you're jumping into the correct places as far as your FTP goes out on course. Looks like Dinsdale did just come across the line, actually. He's got a frozen, he's like frozen in place, actually, though, with his camera there. But it looks like Lewis Dinsdale did just come across the line. Good to see him finishing up his C race just now. Moving back here, maybe the front of the D race would be the next ones if we could find them out on course here. We'll see if we can do that. Moving back here, it's another thing that we would like to highlight. It looks like Orlid now coming across the line out of Sweden there, just ahead of the Frenchman Eignard, and a few other C riders making their way to the finish. According to SwiftPower.com, then let's take a look at the current results as we make our way back. It looks like Keto now in the C race, just making his way to the finish line. It will then be, I believe, it will be Ivan Cliven across the line first for that BRT team, followed by Jernej Primon and then Nick Diggers for your top three in the A category today. In the B category then, across the line first would be Richard Hamilton, followed by Bram de Vlieger. Coming out of the Netherlands. Julian Bijger then with an upgrade. These are all upgrades. The top three currently in the B category all get an upgrade. Andy Brown gets an upgrade. Robert gets an upgrade. Jan Oneida, upgrade. Casper, congratulations, upgrade. Kevin Buckley, first one across the line within 4.0, followed by Martin Holloway, and then Stuart Lynn, all within the B category. In the C category, then, we'll call it as we see it, Philip Erline, followed by the Dean Machine, and then Nolan Wilkins. Lots of upgrades there as well, so make sure to go ahead and check those out. A lot of riders in the D category still making their way to the line. We're going to try and just catch the finish for the D category as quickly as we can.
Yeah, there's no real front group in the D category, but the one of the first guys I have found is our Purbrick coming out of Great Britain. He's just about to hit the bottom of that climb into the S's at the moment, wearing the tax kit. So he looks like to be one of the first Ds to come into the finish section of the course.
Great. All right, we'll check them out as soon as we get through with Turner here, who did get the jump on Thomason. Thomason had the counter with the drafting power, but was not on the wheels solid enough, didn't have a quick enough reaction time to counter the aero power-up. Turner now fading a little bit, though, and just nips him at the line there, unable to come around Thomason there. Solid race in the C category between those riders. Moving on back here, we do see it looks like Hofwagen, followed by P. Booker then in the D category. Looks like probably with an upgrade there, hammering away though. 3.9, 4.8 watts per kilogram, sitting on the wheel of the man out of the Netherlands here. We're going to see a little bit of sprint to the line here, really spinning it to win there. 9.57 watts per kilogram. Hofwagen now trying to come around, not able to do so. Looks like Booker will sprint away on the Go-Go Power Rangers. Forbes now Hofwagen's going to have to keep on going as Forbes, and it looks like Moj Z's now from ODZ. It's a part of ODZ, it looks like. And coming across the line here, just ahead of Forber and Harris then. Looks like Mav Rangelo's then the next one across the line. Zoe, good to see her out there on course, coming out of Australia, riding for Vision Cycling. First one across the line, I believe, for the women in the D category. I haven't looked through and seen if there are any other women out there out on course for the race yet. We'll wait for ZwipPower.com, as it will be able to tell us here in a moment. Nice job to Zoe, though, coming across the line there. Definitely something to highlight there, taking the win, I think, amongst the women, at least in the D category. We do have, it looks like, Plamplin here, as well as Hutchinson, Shager, and Shields now making their way to the line. Another D rider then looks like with Shager making their way to the line. And solid little sprint heating up here with Hutchinson, 6.8, 7.0 watts per kilogram. It looks like it will be Hutchinson, first one across the line, just ahead of Shazier. All right, so it looks like that will be the finished in amongst the Ds as well. Let's do a quick little recap of what had gone down today, boys and girls. We then, for the results in the KISS race, it was, as we said earlier, coming out of Norway for the Bolt Racing team, Njal, Ivan Cliven, with a whole lot of wins actually as of recently. One win and 2 bronzes, and then another one today to add to those results. Second place, Jernage Primon, followed by Nick Diggers across the line. Nice job to those boys in the top 3. Amongst the A category. First ones across the line was Richard Hamilton and Bram D. Vlieger. They will be getting upgrades in the B category, but they were the first across the line, followed by Julian Beiser from Team Experimental. Next one across the line for third place in that B category. In the C category, then, we're going to head ahead and move our way down. We are looking to see, I think Zoe might have been the first one across the line today. But as far as amongst the women, but it was Philip Irvine, followed by the D Machine and Nolan Wilkins in the C category that will all be getting upgrades as well, but they were the first ones across line 1, 2, and 3. Moving our way down here, it does actually looks like Trond Stian Jensen was the first female across the line for the women today. Nice job to her for first place amongst the women, I believe, at least in the C category. Now, the categories did all start separately. 11:29 back, it looks like. Then that was followed by Natalie Beatty. Nice job to her. Solid ride amongst the women, followed by Brith Gulmail coming out of Norway, also in that B category. Keep on moving on our way through here. In the D category, David Lewis, followed by Lucas Sacha, and then Jamie Monaghan. Jamie Monaghan coming out of the UK. So solid ride to all of those riders today. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We will be back tomorrow with the SCR Racing Series. If you'd like to check out the full schedule for Zwift Community Live, we now have it up on our website, nice and ready to go for all of you over at ZwiftCommunityLive.com. And you can see a full schedule over there, as well as every place that we broadcast, and all of our social media links that you would like to follow are all linked immediately at the top of the page. So coming up then tomorrow, then this is the last cast that we have for Zwift Community Live today, but we will have the SCR Race Series tomorrow. We have Casey Shum actually running tomorrow with a Team X Endurance run. We have the Wednesday Volcano ride with world champion, Masters world champion, both road race and TT, Scotty Weiss tomorrow night with the Wednesday Volcano ride actually at 7 p.m. CST. And then the Amgen Tour of California Ride Series at 8 p.m. as well. So make sure to tune in for all of that. And that is just the next 24 hours. There's plenty more to come all the way through the weekend. And we're growing weekly, boys and girls, shooting for that full-on every time zone network to cover all of the riding, racing, news, and awesome stories that are out there because of this cycling made social, this community environment that we have with Zwift now. It's definitely, we're finding so many story after story after story that we want to highlight here. And just to give you an idea of what Zwift Community Live is all about, it's about highlighting the community. It's not just about racing. A lot of times people are like, well, Nathan's a race broadcaster. That's all. That's all. A lot of times up front, that's all it was thought that's about. But we are now starting to actually run group rides with, like you can see with the Scotty Weiss ride as well. The Racer Focus, where you can jump in and watch a race from a first-person point of view, as well as some Zwiftcast Live with Simon Schofield as well as Shane Miller. So really jumping into a place where we're starting to just talk about news as well as highlighting individuals and what they're up to and what their accomplishments are through the world of Zwift, as well as some Tech Talk we're going to try and bring your way with Mr. Shane Miller himself. All right, guys, thanks everybody for tuning in, and we will be back tomorrow. SCR Race Series gonna heat up again. I think we're race number 5 into the total of 12 as we head off in toward the end of winter and into spring. All right, everybody, thanks for tuning in, and as always, ride on.